Hi, everybody. Welcome to Anything But Routine. Cindy Clow and Allie Garrett's here. Allie Clow. And before we get started, we'd like to ask you to follow us on our Anything But Routine Insta. And my Cindy's still kicking.
And AS Clow.
All right. So, coaches, this is actually for your dancers more today. So this would be something you can play to your dancers. Because we just got done with 3 weeks of camp working with dancers. And one of the things I wanted to talk about is not settling and labeling yourself where you're at. Because we see a lot of athletes, and I heard this from a lot of coaches at camp this summer, that they'll be getting toward their junior or senior year and they just kind of accept where they are and they don't keep pushing. Mm-hmm. And
I think to me it makes me really sad when I was actually saying this with solos recently, that we have so many solos at our studio in like the 4th to 8th grade. And then it's kind of like if they weren't in the top of those placements, they kind of stop doing solos and they get into high school. And I'm like, that's just so sad, because I feel like solos make you grow and get so much better. And it doesn't really at the end of the day matter where you're placing, but you're getting
as coaches don't care where the kids are placing, and they care so much. What we care is they're getting out there, pushing themselves beyond their limits a little.
And no matter what, you're going to grow from a solo. You're going to get better. And
the whole point is you're competing to get better for your team. We're on a dance team, for not as an individual. Yeah, that's cool too, but we really want, so don't quit doing solos when you're older. Keep doing them so that you can grow and get better.
This episode is sponsored by the T-Hive and MoveU. At T-Hive, we don't just provide custom designs, we personalize them to suit your needs. Whether you need tablecloths, banners, t-shirts, dye sublimation, sweatshirts, jackets, or warm-ups, we can create them for you. Your dancers will be thrilled with our latest dance designs, or we can bring your custom logo to life. Check us out at the T-Hive and MoveU.
I also think if you were to look, say, okay, I'm going into my junior year of high school, and say your family was like, okay, we're moving to this other town and they have a great dance team, and you're moving from this dance team to this one, would you maybe go in with a little bit of a different mindset? Like, I know what people thought of me there, and now going into this new dance team, I want to maybe try a little bit harder.
Fresh start.
Like, what would you do differently? Do it now, even if you're not moving. And I think that's where it's hard, I think, too. I just was talking to some of our dancers about this, because I think some of them, like for example, in ballet, I think sometimes we get really goofy. And I just was like, you want to take it serious. And I know they want to, but I think now because they've been the goofy person at ballet, it's really hard to go and be like, oh, sorry, guys, I'm being serious now. Yeah. But sometimes you have to do that. And maybe talk to your teammates about it beforehand and say, yeah, I'm going to start taking it more serious. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think most of the time your team's going to respect that. So if you feel like, oh, I'm not a good turner, maybe say, hey, I'm not a great turner, but I'm making it my goal my junior and senior year to become the best turner that I can be. And don't be embarrassed about being behind, or, be embarrassed if you're not still pushing yourself. And that's what I think a lot of kids, it's like easier to be like, oh, I'm not that good, but I don't try that hard. And I think it's that fear of failure, that if I try really hard and I don't do well, that's embarrassing. So they feel like it's easier to hold back.
Oh, for sure.
I think
that's a confidence thing. You have to not care that you're going to fall or do, like I look at some people that put themselves out there. Let's use Louis for an example. He doesn't care if he is,
because he's confident.
Yeah, he's flying all over, and he biffs it a lot of times. Mm-hmm. But you got to biff it a lot of times before you end up where you want to be.
Right, and it's okay. And I think if everyone would just love each other a little more and give each other more grace in that way.
And I even think of it in a team aspect. Like I had a coach talk to me that their team had moved into a harder category, and she said that right away their kids were like, well, we're never going to be as good as that team, so we're having a hard time even trying. And I'm like, well, that's, sometimes you might be, like, I'll use our team for an example. We didn't make it into the jazz realm, like winning or getting up there, for years and years and years. So sometimes you're laying the groundwork for future teams.
And I think I think that's such a good point, because I even look at our team now and like how strong we are in jazz compared to where we used to be. But in my mind, I still see the kids that graduated in 2010 and 2012 and, 2013 that I'm like, you were part of this and why we've gotten to the point that we've gotten to. And in my mind, I still see you as like a very pivotal part and a very great dancer that was like laying that groundwork for what our team will become. So
you can't not work hard for the future teams, so you moved into a harder category, try harder, and people go, well, it's hard. I want to say, no, sorry, but it's hard. And you got to work hard to get where you want to work. And there's so many
sometimes
people,
you're going to work hard and not get to where you wanted to be. And that's okay too.
and some people aren't willing to work that hard. That's what's, I told our kids this morning, you're superhuman. You guys have been here getting up for, you're getting up for morning ballet, for morning weightlifting. We only have to get up early Thursdays as coaches to be there at 6:30, and our dancers are getting there many days a week that early. And you got to put in the time if you want to be great.
And you're never going to regret working hard. And I think that's something just to learn with your whole life. You're never going to be like, gosh, I wish I wouldn't have tried so hard at practice yesterday. Like, you're never going to feel that way.
No.
But you might feel the opposite if you don't try hard, or you're going to graduate high school and go, man, I wish I would have applied myself harder when I was part of something I'll never be a part of again.
Right.
Like you never will be a part of something like a team.
Be all in and go for it. So we wish you the best of luck, and thank you for listening today.